Welcome back. I'm now joined by a good friend of the program, Assemblyman Fred Scalera. Fred, thanks for joining us.
No, thanks for having me here again. I apologize. I have trouble getting here sometimes.
Pleasure, because you're working so hard. You're doing so much. You got your hands in so many different places throughout the state. Your bread and butter being Homeland Security and really looking after our first responders. Some of the work being done here in New Jersey is really putting us at the vanguard when it comes to taking care of them and making sure that the hard work that they do to notice. Talk to me about some of the different things you're working on right now down in Trenton as the chair of that committee.
Well, we're working on a school security bill right now, which I think is pretty interesting, you know, and it's really times out well. When Governor Corzine came in, he really recreated the Office of Homeland Security in New Jersey, and one of the goals was to come out with these best practices for all the school systems across the state, start looking at the security of our children. And from there, it's a great plan, and we have plans, and all schools have plans. But actually, and I have to be honest with you, as a teacher came to me one day and said, you know, we know these plans are pushed forward. And I said, yeah, it's really great. They said, but we really don't practice them. And I said, really? So talking to other teachers and people, yeah, we have the plan, and they know there's a plan, but not everybody knows what the plan is. And some school systems are doing it, and some school systems aren't doing it. So I took a look at that, you know, and right now, and I tie it to the great fire of St. Mary's School back in Chicago in like the late 40s, where that was before alarms and fire drills in the schools. And, you know, a fire broke out, and the nuns closed the doors, but there were open transoms and all, and had the kids sit at the desk and pray, and hundreds of kids died that day in that school. And then we came out with fire alarms and fire drills. Well, we need to do the same thing now with Homeland Security drills. So I've sponsored a bill in the Assembly that's actually passed, and Senator Teresa Ruiz is the sponsor in the Senate, and hopefully we'll have this done by June, so it's in place for the school year starting next year, where that instead of having 2 fire drills a month, you'll have 1 fire drill and 1 Homeland Security drill, consisting of, you know, Homeland Security, there's either securing in place or evacuation, and then they can randomly change those up with fire drills, so that our goal is to be able to get kids and teachers and staff safely out of the building for any type of emergency.
And there's going to be 2 separate alarms because you don't want to confuse a fire alarm with an evacuation alarm. Was that some of the issues that you were, you know, kind of dealing with when crafting the bill, saying we don't want a fire response every time, because Homeland Security, as you know, is different every single time it happens?
100%. And the alarm was a key thing, because some school districts originally were using the fire alarm for both. And they were saying, you know, well, you don't always leave on the fire alarm, wait for another code. Well, wait a minute, don't leave on the fire alarm. You need to leave on the fire alarm, because we need to get you out if there's a fire in the building. So yes, they have to adopt a different type of a code, different procedure, instead of using the fire alarm. We're talking about, you know, Columbine, this 10-year anniversary. Well, 10 years ago, when this situation occurred, what did they do? They pulled the fire alarm. Where were the kids and the men with the guns? In the hallways. We took the kids from the classrooms where they would have been safer and brought them right into the gunfire. So we have done that in New Jersey. The plans are together, best practices. Now we need to take it off the shelf and make sure that we're out there, so that similar to the kids knowing, since you're in kindergarten forward, hear the fire alarm, you know what to do. Well, when you hear the alarm that's in the school or for evacuation or securing in place for other than a fire, it'll be second nature. People know where to walk, where to go, how to do it. And it'll tie together. Many years ago, we had a chlorine incident in Montclair Kimberly Academy at the pool, and they pulled the fire alarm to get the kids out. Well, chlorine's heavier than air. And where did they put them? Downwind, downgrade of the chlorine incident. So they were actually still smelling it, and we're in the incident, because how do we evacuate buildings? Well, we pull the fire alarm. We need to change that. We need to practice it.
Makes a lot of sense.